Hola and welcome to Zwift number 58. This is stage one of Cityscapes around the Glasgow crit course. Here it is here. I've shown you this one before, starting off going down the straight down the middle before doing two right hand turns around the side where closer to us before going up the Clyde kicker, which is at the bottom of the screen now, then heading through a few undulations before dropping down in this blue section in front of us here towards the slight kink in the road and then the two left-hand turns. Here it is, an overview with the Clyde kicker and also the short sprint, which is in this section here. We had 78 riders take to the start line, 6 laps around the crit course, 18.3 kilometres and 199 metres of incline. Well, you can see straight away that the pace was quite a blistering pace. I didn't have much time to prepare. I got back from work late and tried to catch on to this race, but you can see that I got distance straight away and found myself back in 62nd position, working really hard. For some reason my heart rate monitor stopped working just before the start of the race, but you can see my average watts there. It's going to peak over 290 in a few seconds, and I'm constantly looking at the gap between myself and the other riders. It's 4 seconds here. I know I can put a bit of power onto the Clyde kicker, so you can see that the gap came down from 4 seconds and now it's 3 and 2 seconds, so I've done well to bridge with a handful of riders in front of me, but the main body of riders are now 9 seconds out in front. So it was a real struggle, and a few people start commenting. I don't know if I've missed those comments already, or whether they start to comment in the near future about the blistering pace of the start. And I've never had an average watts of close to 300 after 2 kilometres into a race, so it was a really fast start. We were in the category from 270 to 390 on the Zwift racing score. I'm currently at 343 or 347 on one of, no, 347. I did get it up to 350 recently after doing this crit course and finishing with a watts per kilogram of 2.8, so doing really well. I think I averaged about 254 watts on that occasion, and finished with the front pack 4 seconds behind the leaders in a time of around about 28 minutes and 25 seconds, I think it was. But here I am now. I've settled in with a few riders around me. Bartman is pushing ahead with a group of 4 or 5 riders, including Baldwin and Jorgen. And then I'm riding with Kay Ellis, Deltor, who I think I recognise that name. I might be incorrect by saying that, but I'm sure I've ridden in a race with him before. So there's around 4 riders with us. You can see them all there now. And we've got C. Lee's just behind us, who's a good 8 seconds behind us. But yeah, I'm just thinking, I'm a bit despondent, thinking, wow, well, that's the end of the race. I'm not going to be able to keep hold of these other riders. You can see they're 17 seconds ahead now. So yeah, back in 60th position. It's going to be it's going to be ineffective really. The rest of the race, I'm not going to be able to catch hold of that huge big group of around 50 riders who are out in front. But I was able to power up and go ahead on most of the Clyde kickers when we're doing these circuits. So that was pleasing to see. And on a couple of occasions here, you can see I'm 2 seconds ahead of those 4 riders. Seeley's is just 9 seconds behind us now, but riders in front are 19 seconds ahead. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them ahead of us, so they might well be taking the benefits of the draft. I did get a feather on a number of occasions as my power up option. And I was able to use that on the Clyde kicker. I kept on getting a bit despondent that I kept on getting the feather, but I suppose getting the feather to ride up the Clyde kicker is something that's beneficial. So I'm just watching the clock now and thinking about, right, well, that's 4 more times we need to go up the Clyde kicker. That was where I used up most of my energy during the circuits, and you can see that my average watts are now dropping. 250 is still a very good effort for me. I would say that most times I'm in the 240s or even in the 230s, and there's only once or twice I've been in the 250s. But I know we've got a long way to go. There's still 11.9 kilometres to go at this point. I've got my feather again, which I'll pop on the Clyde kicker, which is in about 4 or 5 turns. But yeah, just settling in as well, whilst on this section here after the start finish line and before we get to the Clyde kicker, so that you'll see the average watts now. They've dropped down to 245, and they'll probably continue to drop until we go up the Clyde kicker. Let's have a look now. Riders ahead of us are 27 seconds ahead, and it looks like there's more than 6, but it might still, no, there is still 6. And how is Seeley's? Seeley's is gaining on us now. He's only 4 seconds behind us. But the rest of the groups are well out in front. Here I power up again, popping my feather as we go up over the Clyde kicker. Continue to keep my power up until we get to the flat. Then my 92 kilograms allows me just to keep the wheels spinning and the pedals turning before powering up before I get to the bottom of the hill, not as I get to the bottom of the hill. I'm powering up before I get to the bottom of the hill, and these undulations here, I'm doing something similar, so I'll start to power up there before I start to go uphill, and I find this a really effective way of getting up over the hills. This time you can see that the gap I've opened up is 5 seconds, so I'm just easing off now. You can see my watts are back down to around about 160, so you can see my average watts back up close to 250, so every time we go up the Clyde kicker, it's back up to around 250, and every time we're back by the start finish and approaching the Clyde kicker, it's dropped closer to 240. So just easing off again here because I wanted to get some draft from the riders around me. They are starting to catch me, but even still, just as we come to the start finish line, it was still 3 seconds, but now one of the riders has gone past me, Deltor. He's gone past, so I'll sit on his back wheel and use his draft. So a couple of turns away from the Clyde kicker again, I just make sure I have a good starting position and I'm in a good place in case anybody does try and break away. So I find myself out at the front with 1 turn to go, 1 right-hand turn to go at the end of this straight for the slight kick, and then the main kicker up the Clyde kicker. So yeah, just putting plenty of power down on that slight incline, easing off gently here, and then just before we get to the shadow, powering up and making sure I've got plenty of power, so hitting around 550 watts, continuing to put the power down until we come up over the top again, and instantly opened up a 4-second gap at that point. So I feel really strong with those sprints. I am going to have another go tomorrow night and see if I can be more switched on at the start finish line. It didn't help that I joined late and I was probably about 8 rows back in the pen. That gave other riders around me an advantage in making it harder for me to get right to the front as soon as possible. So what I'll try and do is I'll try and ride again tomorrow and see if I can make some slight improvements on this race today. That all said, it wasn't a bad race for me. in regards to performance. It was just in regards to actual position and timing. But I put the timing down to being, well, I won't tell you yet. So I may not comment on the times of the race, but certainly the position of being around 50th position, you can see that the gap to the riders in front is 23 seconds. There's only 3 of them now, though, 23 seconds. So that group is split. So there might be potential that they start coming back to us. I haven't commented on the fact that Seeley's has actually been able to get onto our group, which was a real good effort from him. And we're continuing to put the power down to try and get to the finish line. But the position of 60th was disappointing. I did say I wouldn't mention the timing, but I actually ended up about a minute and a half behind the timing of when I finished the race last week. And I was just 4 seconds behind the winner on that occasion. But that was because that was a different category, and I think the top of the category on that occasion was 350. And that was the time when I was able to put down 2.8 watts per kilogram. So I do think that by missing out with the draft at the start and all the way through the race, that impacted on the timing, obviously, and clearly, because my average watts doesn't dip. I don't think it goes below 240 at the end. It's possibly close to 240, but still 240 is a good effort. And you'll see that on most of the laps when I've been going up the Clyde Kicker and over these next few undulations, I've been the one who's been pushing the pace along, so not taking advantage of anybody's draft. So that might have impacted on everything as well. So now we've just got one more time up the Clyde Kicker. I'm able to ease off slightly, but that gap of 4 seconds you'll see has been really pleasing to open up and keep it there. So that's something that I will try and take advantage of on the last lap. If I can push up that Clyde Kicker quickly and keep the pedals down for the next few turns, hopefully that 4 or 5 second gap can be 7 or 8 seconds, and more likely for none of the other riders to come back to me, because I think the last 3 laps, every time we come down the start finish line or close to the start finish line, the rest of the riders ease their way back past me and I sit in their draft. What you may have noticed also, though, is the 3 riders in front, Bartman, Genty, and oh gosh, how are we going to go for that one? Joyvad. They are just around about the 10-second mark ahead of us. So there's 3 riders who are slowly coming back to us, and hopefully we can catch hold of them. But even with 2.6 kilometres to go, we're going to find that tricky. But what I decided to do here is try and pan forward to the rest of the groups. I did time it really well, to be fair. You'll see that I'm watching Johan de Oliveri. He's out in front, but you can see that just going past him at the end is Tim Carswell, who pipped him right at the end. A really good, powerful finish by Tim there, right on the finish line. So I timed it quite well to pan forward to the rest of the group. But back to myself and the riders around 60th position. Here I go, powering up the Clyde Kicker. But on this occasion, I've got Del Tour, who's also put down a fair bit of power. So that gap you've seen me open up on the last 3 or 4 times up the Clyde Kicker didn't actually materialise this time. I like this next slight incline as well. I always power up there as well, which you can see I've done again. That brings the 2 riders in front, Bartman and Lombardi, into play as well. But I've still got Haldin and Del Tour right on my tail, and Seeley's has also caught hold of us. So normally where I've got this 4 or 5 second gap, I've not actually been able to create that this time round. They've picked up the pace on their final lap. So I'm choosing to get in their draft and just continue to put the pace down until we get to the start finish. One rider's just dropped off slightly there that you've just seen us go past, but I'm still chasing down Lombardi and Lees. Gentry is a few seconds ahead of that, so we're probably not going to catch him. But let's see how I manage. You see that Bartman goes past me and another rider in front. I'm able to get past Lombardi at the finish line and finish in 55th position. 245 watts is still a good level of power, averaging 2.7 watts. So pleased with the actual performance. Like I said, timing was completely out due to not being in that draft of the lead riders. But yeah, all in all, quite good. But I'm hoping to have another go tomorrow. I might be a little bit sneaky, and rather than going on the Cityscapes race, I might see if there is a crit race because the parameters for the ZRS are slightly different. But please subscribe. I will go through the top 10 riders for you now. First over the line, Tim Carswell in 26 minutes and 52 seconds. Followed very closely by Johan de Oliveri, just a quarter of a second behind. Third, we had Sebastian Boldash. Fourth, we had Karsten. Fifth, we had Michael Pollock, still only just 1 second behind. Then sixth, we had Wesley Polder. Then seventh, probably, I would imagine, the relation of Johan was Lilian de Oliveri. Both French riders both got private accounts, so couldn't check whether they were connected at all. Then we had in 8th Sam House, 9th El Potti on Zwift, and then 10th we had Jake. So thanks for watching. I'm hoping to be back tomorrow on Tuesday night. Please subscribe. Bye.